Hi, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of the School Librarian Learning Network podcast. I'm Steve Tatro, often known as Dr. T Loves Books, and I love talking about all things related to school libraries. I'm an old dog who's always trying to learn new tricks. That's why in each episode of the SLLN podcast, I'll chat with a school librarian about a lesson, program, or activity they love. Hopefully, this can be a place for school librarians to get ideas and find new ways to engage with their students and staff. Speaking of which, I'd love to hear about what you and your friends are doing in your school library. Email me at drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com to tell me about what you're doing, offer feedback about the SLLN podcast, or to request a podcast sticker. As Amy Herman likes to say, being a guest on a podcast is a great way to show your admins you are engaged in meaningful professional development and leadership in the profession. So drop me a line and let's chat. That being said, the opinions and ideas shared in this podcast by myself and my guests are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. I just like to geek out about school libraries. So without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. Hey everybody, we are back, and I am back with a new friend, and I'm very excited because came across this really cool looking thing on Bluesky, and I was like, oh, that's neat. I wonder if this person will come and share. And she did, which is awesome. So without further ado, let me jump on over to Melissa. Thank you so much for being here. Why don't you take a second, tell us who you are or where you're at?
Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited to share this project with other librarians. And my name is Melissa Snider. I am a K-5 librarian at a dual language immersion school, English and Spanish, in Western Wyoming. And I've been a school librarian for 17 years, and that's me.
That is awesome. 17 years is a real nice run. How did you end up in school librarianship?
I actually started on the public library side of things. There was an opening in our youth services department in our local public library. And I had the great fortune of having a phenomenal mentor in the youth services department who showed me all things kid lit and really got me excited about the profession. And I was able to then see a path for myself into school librarianship. Both of my parents are educators, teachers.
Okay.
But I really hadn't been aware of school librarianship as a potential career choice for myself, even though I had a literature background and huge interest as a reader and a writer. So all the stars started to align. Things started to make sense to me in terms of what I could do with this career. And I was able to go and get my master's in school library and information science. Actually, it was a school library specific program at Simmons College, which is now Simmons University. And when I graduated at Simmons, there was a position that opened up in my hometown. So I was fortunate enough to be able to move straight back to Wyoming, where I love to be, and started my career in school librarianship here in the same place where I started in libraries overall. So it was really great.
Awesome. Wow.
Great path.
Yeah, man. And that's just some great timing that all happened to work out that way.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. That's funny. I don't usually hear too many folks who have come from the public side into the school side. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that as I listen to some of your other guests, because I just think librarians in general are really interesting people. I mean, not to brag about ourselves, but I think we should more often.
Absolutely.
People come to this career from all different corners and from so many different backgrounds and interests. And so I just think that all of those skills and interests feed into what we do, right? We can take 100%. Any interest, any skill, any ability or, special gift, and it can be used. It can be put to use in the library, whether you're a public librarian, school librarian, or, in another setting.
Absolutely.
But yeah, being in a school library really taught me to be service focused and to put the patron first. And I learned a lot of really good practices around patron privacy and importance of intellectual freedom. And all of those lessons are really coming in very
Oh,
handy
absolutely.
in this
Yeah.
current era.
For better or for worse.
Yes.
Man, well, no, I absolutely agree. And it's wonderful when there are those different perspectives that come into the library, because schools are such a weird place.
Yeah.
When you've been in them for a while, you start to see things that I don't think a lot of the public starts to see. So it's really awesome when we get those different kinds of perspectives, and it's not somebody who necessarily trained in education. Because I think when you train in education, you kind of get maybe certain kinds of tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really valuable. I think it's probably incredibly valuable for your staff and your students that you are bringing this additional perspective to things. And it's not just the same as everybody who's in the building. So
Yeah.
good
And I
on
mean,
you.
I have also helped to train and mentor people in my own district who have come from the classroom into the school library, which is, I think, were you a
That's
teacher
how I
first?
ended up. Yeah.
So, and I love that path as well, because those partners now, my colleagues, are able to really help me with some of the things that I am not as skilled at, with like
Hmm.
writing curriculum or working on, standards work. They can really give me a lot of great guidance in those areas, and we can use all of our skills together to benefit the students and the staff.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And speaking of benefiting the students and the staff, you are doing this amazing program with your students. And before we get into the details of it, I'm just kind of curious, like, where did the idea for this come from? Like, what was sort of the genesis of this?
This is one of those accidental um, events that sort of grew out of a moment. So we were having
Love it.
4 years ago, we had a parent night in December, or maybe I think it's probably late November. And I was there. I had a bunch of weeded books, discarded books from our library. I had a bunch of donated books, and I just set up a table with some free books in English and Spanish, hoping to chat with some parents and give some books away and get some books into kids' homes.
That's a great
And
idea. Huh.
yeah, a friend of mine who was working in our school at the time, who was an EL teacher, um, she said, I think it'd be really fun. What if we just like wrapped these for people? Because the holidays are coming up and people might need a gift for their kids. So I don't even remember where the wrapping paper came from, but suddenly we had produced, we're in a school, you can find all kinds of random stuff.
Yeah.
We had produced several rolls of wrapping paper, and we were wrapping some books and giving them away to parents. And
That's
it was kind of a
awesome.
nice, it was kind of generating a little bit of excitement and joy. So I had the rest of the week coming up before a break, and I thought, well, why don't I just keep going? And I brought the remainder of the books back to the library and offered them to kids, and quickly ran out of books. I mean, the kids
Mm-hmm.
suddenly were like, oh, and they went crazy with it. And so
Yeah.
then I was very quickly sending out the SOS to families in our building. Anybody have books you'd like to donate? And it was sort of like a loaves and fishes thing, where just, as the week went on, more books kept appearing. I had a parent bring in like 6 banker boxes full of phenomenally beautiful kidlit books for that she didn't need anymore. People just produced all of these amazing donations, and we were able to kind of make it, like fake it till we make it, through the first time we did this.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of that, I thought, well, that was really fun. And the kids got books into their homes, which is one of my big, goals and missions as a school librarian.
Absolutely.
And we know that as wonderful as libraries are and as essential as library collections are, we also need to be able to get books into kids' homes that they can keep, and they can build a home library, and they can see themselves as readers who curate collections of their own, just like,
Absolutely.
we do we take it for granted. Maybe those of us who've grown up with a lot of books in our homes and a literate
100%.
community family. So we have a lot of newcomers.
Yeah, I love that you started with weeded books and other books that you had, because what a great way, like the weeded books, I've got stuff that is just so, my students are never going to look at it. I've got like original first editions of 1962. I've got a biography of Peter Lawford. Who the hell's Peter Lawford? I've got one of Joey Bishop. Who's Joey Bishop? Stuff that like maybe parents or grandparents might recognize these people, but the kids are never going to use those.
Right.
And so they need to be weeded. And what a great way to sort of maybe find a new life for those with the adults who might come in and say, oh, well, this, I can see that this is old and this is not for the kids, but I'm kind of interested in that, or I'm curious about it. So maybe that's a way to sort of like both help weed the stuff, but also bring a face to weeding that is, look, if I'm not throwing this stuff out, like, it's not that I hate books. It's that when you see what this looks like, or like, I could even see that turning into maybe like getting some weeded stuff and doing some sort of like art project with it, being like, hey, parents, take these with you. Like, cause we've got parent conferences last week and this week, and tomorrow I've got a stack of ARCs that I brought back from ALA that I've been trying to figure out what to do with. Now I know exactly what I'm doing with them. They're going to be out for the parents if they want to grab them for their kids. I'm going to start looking at my weeds and see if there's anything I can quick put together. Love this.
Just roll a cart, cover a table in books. People will gravitate toward it. I mean, I know I do. Anytime I see books out, I'm like, ooh, let me go check and see what I need to add to my endless TBR piles.
Because one person's trash is another person's treasure. So who knows?
Absolutely.
But I love this. So it kind of started as just sort of like, we've got this thing. Let's see what happens. And then it kind of grew.
So year 2, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to do it with intention. So that's when I started planning. So we knew kind of what the end result would look like. We wanted to do the last week before winter break, because that's generally kind of a squishy week, right? There's not going to be a lot of good instructional learning happening that week. Kids are just kind of, for whatever reason, they're on a different plane.
Oh, yeah.
And teachers can be too. Everybody's tired. It's holiday season. It's tough to stay focused. So
we all love that winter break.
I thought, this was a good time. We try to keep it pretty neutral in terms of a specific holiday. We don't call out Christmas or Hanukkah or anything. We just say, hey, for the winter holiday season, even if your family doesn't celebrate a winter holiday, this is a great time to get cozy at home with a book and read together as a family. And so we promote it to students, but we also promote it to families through our principals' newsletters and directly. I do it on my own personal social media. I also have a school social media account, an Instagram account for our school. So I just posted it there. And I try to post it or send it out, several times. So starting in November, we start to say, it's coming. This is what we need. And we're pretty specific. We're specific about the age levels of the donations. So I'm in a K-5 school. We are not asking people to donate books that would be for older kids or adults. We want books for children and school-age children and younger, because we really want our kids to be able to find something that they could give as a gift to a younger sibling and read with them.
Great.
So board books are fantastic. And, we try to just collect as many as we can from as many sources as we can. And we stash them all over the school, wherever you have space to leave boxes of books. And you talk to your best friend, the custodian, and you find a closet space. We have them stashed under tables. We have them all over, but we know where they are. And when it's time, we pull them all out to set them up. So
I
right
love
now,
that you really make it clear, like, we don't want your James Pattersons. We're not looking for your steamy romances that you are now ready to.
Definitely not.
And that's, I would have never thought, like, to aim for the younger, like, grades below what your students might be, so that they can have them as a gift for younger. Brilliant.
So
Absolutely
many of
brilliant.
our kids have younger siblings, and they're so excited to be able to give a book to them that they think they'll enjoy. I have teachers come in and shop the book giveaway. They come in and find a book for their child, or for a student in their class that they're thinking could benefit from that. And it's just, so the second year we did it with intention, it went really smoothly. Then I thought, okay, I could add a little more branding to this, because what if this book is coming home? It's a wrapped present under the tree. Where did this even come from? I know families are very busy. They might not have gotten the memo about the event, or might not understand where these are coming from. So that's when we started to design a sticker. I just made it on Canva. I ordered 2,000 of them this year, because last year we gave away 1,500 books. And I would like to be able to put a sticker on every package that goes home to sort of brand it and say, this is where it's coming from, the winter book giveaway, enjoy. reading is a gift. That's the main message. Reading is a gift. It's a
That's
gift to be
amazing.
able to read. It's a gift to read with others. And so we try to send that message home and let people know where it's coming from. So hopefully that also builds like recognition of the event over time, since we see families
Absolutely.
we have their students in our school for 6 years. We're
Yeah.
building relationships with them. And what I've found too is just it's such a great way to recycle. We talk about circulation of materials in libraries, and that's kind of a library term,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a term that's easily understood, right? It means that it's moving through a system. And our
Mm-hmm.
communities are those systems where we are in a community that has um, a huge diverse array of people who are very wealthy, socioeconomic, at the very high end. And then we have a group of people who are very in need and
Mm-hmm.
are at the far opposite end. And we are probably one of the most extreme examples of that type of community in the country. We've had studies done that name my county, Teton County in Wyoming, as one of these places that just has a very diverse group of people in terms of socioeconomic status.
Huh.
So we have these really book-rich families, like my own. We've hundreds of books sitting around, probably thousands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a librarian. We've collected
Yeah.
for a long time. We try to weed my own collection, but then talk to my two daughters, and it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
So
Well, when we
we're
moved a couple of
circulating
years
them.
ago,
Yeah.
we had, my wife and I are both big readers and avid collectors of books. And when we moved, we had literally like 6-foot tall piles filling rooms filled with books. And it was like, how they weigh thousands of pounds. What are we doing? And we ended up doing a huge weed. We couldn't move this stuff, physically move it. So we were like, all right, we got to do some weeding. So
it's time.
I'm there with you.
Yeah. So we have a lot of those families, right, who are like, oh my gosh, what do I do with all these books? They're coming out our ears. So that's a great opportunity for those families to be able to clear some spaces on their shelves. And we see a lot of books come back that have been purchased at our book fair, that maybe were acquired at the summer reading program at the public library, because they do a lot of great book giveaways at the summer reading program. So we see a lot of books kind of come back into circulation through the book giveaway that then go back into a new home and have a new life and a new reader.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
Just kind of building that recognition that this is going to be an annual event. You can look for it around this time, kind of building an expectation so that people start to think of it. So maybe they start to think, ooh, I know Melissa always does that book giveaway thing. Maybe she's going to want these as I'm in the summer sorting something. And I do.
Right.
I have friends and neighbors and people who I've got boxes of books being dropped off on my front porch right now. We're collecting books at school. I'm getting them from other people in the district. They're coming from all places. So
that's so great.
It's a big effort to collect all the materials.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's time to set up.
So before we go to the setup, though, I got to say, and as I have done this podcast over the past couple of years, I've started to like kind of think about trying to look at things from the outside in, because like I'm coming into a lot of these with some knowledge, but not like a huge wealth of knowledge on how it looks from the inside. And one of the things I've started to notice is that so many of these awesome programs that we love to do because they're awesome and they're good and they help students are also such amazing pieces of advocacy for your program. Because like when you're connecting with the community and they're seeing that you're doing this thing, they're connecting with the school, they're connecting with the library program, and they're seeing that you are taking literacy out of the school and bringing it into the community, into homes. And that is so awesome and so powerful. I have to imagine that you must be building some really great bridges with the people in your community as you've been working on this the past couple of years.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope. And it's a huge honor to be able to build those relationships and sustain them over time. And it's something that, the book fair is always a really big deal for school libraries if you run a book fair. But I've always felt really conflicted about it because of the monetary aspect of it. And I'm a book librarian for a reason. And I I always tell the kids I like to give things away for free. I like to use resources wisely that are given to us and trusted to us. And then I like to provide information and literature and whatever other services we can pull together for our students and our staff. Those should be available to them.
Mm-hmm.
So a book fair for me has always been something where I do a lot of fundraising, go out and get funds so that every student can get a book at the book fair.
That's awesome.
But this is a really nice, it has such a good feel. There's no waste. We're bringing in books that are already purchased. They're being given away. They're going into new homes. It doesn't cost the kids anything. It costs us a little bit of money. You could do it completely for free if you needed to and wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, I've just been able to purchase the stickers, purchase rolls of paper. This year, I have a parent who's got a kindergartner, so they're a new parent to our building. He's a business owner in town. He reached out and he offered to donate 5 big rolls of custom printed wrapping paper to us, which was amazing. So he's donating 5. I'm purchasing 5 rolls from him, and those will be branded with our school logo. And I mean, opportunities like that just keep building as you do something year to year and are kind of reliably promoting an event. People will really come forward with opportunities that I never thought of that. I didn't reach out for that opportunity, but the parent came to me and offered it, and such a generous offer in support of our kids and our school. So, it's just
wonderful.
Really great. It's always, there's so much joy around this event, and that's one of the reasons I do it at this time of year also, because it is a dark time of year, but it's that time of year when a lot of people are very reflective. And some people might be feeling alone and in need of a little community and a little bit of a lift. So I get a lot of joy out of this, and I know the students do. And I'm hoping, I hear the stories of families opening, if they're celebrating Christmas, let's say they're opening some of these books, and what the students choose for adults in their family can be hilarious. Gotten a few stories back of interesting choices the kids have made of a book they thought their parent would enjoy reading with them. So it's always really fun to get those reports back, because we give the kids full rein. It's like we kind of give them some guidance and help them find the right areas. But if it's a parent or an older sibling, it's really funny to see what they pick up, usually based on, cover art first. So that's always fun.
Something I hadn't thought of before when you're talking about collecting the books is, I would imagine that a lot of, if you've got those families in your district who are book buyers and they buy books for their kids, especially I think in that K-5 band, and this is just my supposition, it's not fact, but I feel like the K-5 band is where you get a lot of books that kids read them and then they're done with them and they are ready to move on to something else. So I imagine that's a benefit to when you're trying to collect that stuff, that families are like, oh yeah, no, we can move on from this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. You have maybe a kid who's outgrown. Kids can outgrow books. They go through a lot of stages as readers in the elementary levels. And so maybe we've got, the kind of decodable types of books and moving into shorter chapter books, emergent readers, and then into longer chapter books, novels. The graphic novels are always the first to go. The kids, they're just wildly popular and they get very excited to be able to give a graphic novel. So all the formats are welcome. Any format, any genre, fiction, nonfiction. And then, of course, in our school, since we have a bilingual student population and our school is a bilingual dual immersion school, we also aim to have as many books available in Spanish as well as we can, so that kids can share those with their families if their home language is Spanish.
Love that. Man, that's awesome. So, okay, the books are coming in. What happens after the books come in? Because it seems like there might be a couple of extra steps that you've got going here, which I love.
Yeah, right now we've got 2 weeks until our giveaway. So we're like I said, hoarding the books in different places around the school, and kind of glancing, checking to see what's coming in. I just got a beautiful box of books today I'm super excited about.
Nice.
And we are just collecting at this point and continuing to advertise that we need donations. We're preparing. I've received my stickers. We're getting the wrapping paper coming. Talked to my custodian today about needing some tables. We set up additional tables as like folding stations for the kids.
Oh,
Tape,
nice.
Scissors, you need all your supplies and like get more than you think you're going to need because once it gets going, it's wild. And then suddenly you're out of tape and you're panicking. So we get extra of everything. And
now you keep saying we, and I'm curious. First, what's your student body population ballpark-ish?
We have about 350 students at the moment.
Okay.
Maybe 350, 360. Our numbers have shifted a little this year. And we're K-5, like I said, and we have 4 classroom groups at each grade level.
Okay.
So each of those classes will visit the library during the swap on their normal fixed class schedule. I say we because I have a full-time paraprofessional who is indispensable. And
nice.
Yes, she is helping me collect and store the books and just kind of get materials ready.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, you're blowing my mind a little bit that you're 350-ish students and you went through 1,500 books last year. That is incredible. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
But okay, before we go back to that. So, the books, you're getting ready. You've got books everywhere. They're stashed under tables. They're in closets. Have you started stickering with your stickers?
No. So what we'll do is, and we have a lot of weeded books too that we've been collecting since the fall. When the students when they come for class, so if you're ready for like how the rollout goes on the actual giveaway.
Yeah. Bring it on.
So we set up the giveaway. We'll run it a Monday to a Friday, the week before our winter break. We set up the Friday before the last week of school before break. And that will entail myself. Hopefully my para is available. Haven't asked her yet, but I think she will be. And anybody else in this school community who might be interested. Last year I had 3 or 4 teachers come down because it is pretty labor intensive. You just have to unpack and sort on the fly. Unless you have a way to sort things ahead of time, we just really don't. We don't have space to pull it all out because we have thousands of books that we're dealing with.
Yeah. So
we're unpacking and we're quickly sorting into general areas so that we can find what we need and help guide kids to appropriate levels of books and different types of formats, etc.
Just from a logistics point of view, this is all happening in the library?
Yes, this happens in our library space. So
Does that mean you have to shut down the library when you start doing this part, or?
Nope.
Okay.
We keep doing it all.
Nice.
we don't do checkout during our book fair in the school year because everything is literally like pushed to the edges. Anything on wheels has been pushed out as far as it can go because we have a pretty small space. But for this, we just use our central teaching space and all of our teaching tables, plus any carts. I will pull tables in and furniture from outside of the library, pull it in to just make more room for things to browse.
Gotcha.
So the teaching area is no longer what it usually is. It's covered in books, but we do still have kids checking out books that week as well.
Okay. Whew, yeah. Boy, that is impressive. That alone is impressive.
Thank you. And this is important to explain to your young patrons. The difference between a book that is to keep and a book that is to return. And, so far they've done really well. So by this point in the year, we hope that they understand they've grasped the general concept of returning books. And so overall, they pretty much can get it. But we also rely a lot on our families to be like, hey, send the books back if they're library books.
Yeah.
And then it gets even crazier with weeded materials. You got to make sure you mark those out really well.
Yeah. I can just see the puzzled expressions on faces like, but it's marked library. Why am I not bringing this back?
Yeah. And we do get those back sometimes, and that's fine.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
So
we're sorting, we're getting stuff all kind of spread and grouped. Okay. Totally on board.
So once we've done that, we are ready to open the doors and welcome kids in. So the first day, starting on a Monday, the kids come in with their class. We sit and usually do a read aloud wherever we can find space to do that. Because I have a 50-minute time with them,
Nice.
a class period. So we have time to read a winter story, and I've put some suggested titles in the how-to page. I sent
Awesome.
just a little slide deck with a couple of books that we pull out, but I'm sure many people would have other favorites that they'd want to read with students. So we enjoy a book together. We then talk carefully about how they're going to do two things today. They're going to check out a book and they're going to return that book after break. And they're going to also shop for a book that they want to give as a gift. And those books will not come back to the library. They are for them to keep. They're for the people to keep who they give them to. So we have them think first, like, who would be on your list if you were going to give a gift to someone? Who would you like to give a gift to? And, you know, some kids have one special person in mind. Some kids have 10. And we encourage them to be generous. If they want to give a book to every person in their family and extended family, and they actually live in a home with all of those people or have them nearby, then go for it, and we just try to have them first think through it and maybe talk to a friend about who they might be looking for a book.
That's a great idea. I always, whenever we can help them sort of pre-think and sort of do that almost pre-reflection before they step into doing the thing we want them to do, as a middle school teacher, invaluable to take that extra minute. But I love that, and just getting them to think a little bit about it. And then having some more intentionality about it, as opposed to just, okay, go look at everything. Like, now they've at least got a little bit of a focus to help them kind of figure out where they might want to gravitate to.
Absolutely. And a lot of times as they've started, they might think of another person and another person, or they maybe wrap one or two gifts and then they still have some time on their hands. So then they start floating around thinking of other people that they'd like to give something to. We've had students give gifts to teachers, all kinds of family members, parents who they are separated from, perhaps living in another country, and a student is here in the States and they'd like to send a book to a parent. My hope is that they are able to do that. We send those home for sure. Kids they're just so thoughtful and generous, and it's, again, the joy just starts to flow and the kids get really excited and so proud to be able to give a gift, because a lot of our students, this might be their first experience being able to do something like this. And when they leave and they've got a pile full of wrapped presents that look so beautiful, they can't stop smiling. So it's pretty phenomenal.
I'm literally getting choked up thinking about just, wow.
I do too. I get excited about it. And it's just, it's a great way to build relationships with students too, because you get a little peek into who's important in their lives, who they might want to connect with, or who they'll be with during a longer break, which always is something a lot of us look forward to. But for a lot of students, it's a really uncertain time, unsettling time for them. Maybe they are food or housing insecure, and it could be really stressful. So just giving them that moment to share something about themselves and their families is a really valuable time.
Absolutely. Oh boy, man, building that community within the school, just adding those extra links and helping to see the students as people. I think sometimes it's so easy to look at them as test scores or data, and you're really going that extra mile here to help them express who they are and just be part of their family and the school family. That's so wonderful. Oh boy. Logistically, do you sort of say, like, you can give a book to a person? Like, I am one of those horrible people who would be like, I want to give all 9 of these books to my little sister. Like, is there do we put a little bit of a cap or something, or sort of suggest?
Yeah, we suggest, I guess it kind of depends on the age of the person receiving the book, because for instance, I've had a student who has an older sister who's a really prolific reader who I've taught. And so I know his older sister, and I thought, okay, yes, let's pick out like we had some beautiful options for chapter books for her. So we were able to find her something, but we're just going to give one of those really nice hardcover, donated books that we've received.
Mm-hmm.
But for students who have maybe a younger sibling or are getting it for themselves, I am like, go for it. Get 5 picture books, bundle them all together. We wrap them all together as a gift. Or sometimes people will donate those little decodable, like quick readers. I'm talking like the ones that schools have. A lot of people in the classrooms love to donate those little square decodable books. And
Okay.
those are great for, kids who are just starting out as readers. And I will bundle as many of those as we want to into one package.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it just kind of depends on the
Sure.
reader receiving.
And
on
I
the
imagine
receiving end.
too, it has probably a little something to do with how many books are available too. So, your mileage may vary as it goes, but you have built this into such an amazing program that it's great that you've got that ability, that flexibility to kind of cater to the needs of each gift giver and each book giver. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, every year about this time, I'm kind of panicking a little bit about whether or not we'll have enough donations and will it all go the way it has in the past. But there's an element of trust too in the community that is important for this to work. And I also lean a lot on our community partners like the public library, like our Teton Literacy. We have a wonderful literacy center here in town, Teton Literacy Center. And our booksellers. I check in with booksellers to see if they have ARCs they'd like to give away since they can't sell those.
Sure.
If they have any other books that are just sort of taking up space that they're ready to move along. We try to reach out to as many community partners as we can who might have stashes of books for us. And every box is, that many more wrapped potential gifts for families.
Yeah. And I mean, it never hurts to ask, right? I mean, the worst they can say is no, and you're not ending up any worse than you were before.
Exactly.
So they're coming in and you've got them thinking about who I might want to give a book to. And then how do you sort of point them toward the stash, as it were?
I will say it's helpful to have a volunteer join you, especially if you don't have another, library para or anybody else working with you in the library. Sometimes teachers will volunteer time, but I know they're super limited. So if people do that, it's usually because they just need a break and they want to experience the joy of the event for themselves.
Which is a great selling point to get people in there. So.
Absolutely. So you were talking earlier about how this can be a really great advocacy tool. I talked to our school resource officer today and invited her to come wrap some gifts with us. I'm planning on reaching out to our school board and invite them to come. Invite people from your district office who might want to get out of the office for a little while, or administrators. Really, it's a fantastic opportunity to just bring people into your space and see the excitement that kids have around books and reading, because I think, reading sometimes gets reduced to a skill, and not that it's an essential skill, don't get me wrong, but I also want to think about reading in bigger ways and stories in bigger ways and nonfiction factual information in those bigger, broader ways, and let people see that excitement that students hold and have around literature when given the opportunity.
Book joy. We got to get that reading
book
joy,
joy.
that book joy going.
That's
yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And what a great opportunity for your social media team and the district to say, we're doing this thing. We've got the administrators, we've got the office staff coming in, like, come on in and take some pictures and we can put this out. What a great PR opportunity for the district to show what we're doing. Like, yeah, man, a lot of ways you could sell this. I can see this really going over big with your admins in your district.
It's a really good photo op.
Yeah, exactly.
On a very shallow level, but I am this year, I haven't done a press release before or invited press in, but this year we are.
Nice.
Going to do that because I think it's time. The program has matured a little bit, and I do want to make sure that it stay focused on its goal, which is to increase book access for students and to bring some awareness to the fact that there are students who don't have books in their homes in our community. And that might be sort of unfathomable to some families around, and they really don't understand it. And but it's a truth. It's, I do informal polling of my students. I kind of check in with them about their book access, and I am certain that there are a lot of families who can use more books in their homes. So we love to do it, and we want to stay focused on that really important goal when we're promoting it.
And what a great way to also reach out to like your community legislators and your community community administrators, as it were, like mayors, town boards, local state officials, and invite them to come and see this thing as a way. I mean, yes, it's advocacy for your program, but what great advocacy to say, look at how important literature is and reading is and having books in the home is, and look at our constituents that may not have that access. And maybe that's something we need to think about for our community. Like, oh boy, that is so, my brain's like lighting up with, I can just see all the politicians coming down to like hand out books to kids and get those, photo ops. But like, what a great opportunity to really add to the, I feel like so many of our people outside of the school just don't get like their experience is the only experience, and they don't get that other people have different experiences. Sometimes it's like, how do you not see that not everybody has all the stuff you have? And so getting them the opportunity to see firsthand, like these kids freaking out about how awesome it is to have books, like, oh, what a great moment, what a powerful moment for them to maybe do some rethinking of how they're looking at the community.
Yeah, and that it really is a gift the kids love to give, that they are generous, and giving them that opportunity to give instead of be always receiving things from other people, that really transforms a kid. I've seen kids just get very thoughtful and intentional about what they're choosing and who they're choosing it for, and it's really great to give kids that opportunity. But yeah, I will say parents are very busy during the month of December, myself included. So I hate to lean on them as volunteers only. And so, reaching out to your broader community, administrators, people in the schools, and who might be interested in coming and connecting with students at a school is a great way to find people who are available, maybe more available than a parent might be during the month of December when everything is crushed into a few weeks.
Yeah.
So moving back.
Sorry, I keep derailing.
No, I know, me too. That's all right.
But they're getting books together. We've got some adults to help crowd control as they get into the books. So where do things go?
So it's helpful to have a person or two helping guide students to help find the right book for their person, and then sending them toward the wrapping area, which we try to keep kind of separate. And a lot of the kids will be very excited and interested in trying to wrap their own gifts, which is hard to watch sometimes. Depends on your tolerance for chaos. And also kids with scissors, so you have to be a little careful with that. But overall, I have a little video that I show my older students because I want them to help me, because they are third grade, especially. For some reason, they're always our biggest shoppers. So I teach them to wrap because I need their help. And it's really fun for them, and you watch kids and you go, wow, you really just don't get that much practice doing things like this, do you?
It's absolutely true.
Do it.
But like,
let's learn to wrap a gift. So it's a life skill. Wrapped into the program as well. And the kids get over to the wrapping area. We lay out the books. When you get stacked up with a lot of kids who all have books to give, I use just address labels, because you can get a lot of them for less money than like getting, fancy holiday to from stickers. So we just use white address labels as our to from items. And what I'll have kids do is, if they're able to write it themselves, write their to from sticker, and we'll just put it on the very corner of the book so that we can pile up a bunch of books and we know who we're wrapping for, because it will happen that you're going to have piles of books and suddenly you're like, uh-oh, who is
period's
this?
Over.
Who picked this? Who's it for? So keeping them organized a little bit with that, making sure kids don't just set books down wherever. And then everybody's just wrapping as fast as they can. And it's insanity. And then you get them out the door, 10 minutes, next class, and you do it all again.
When they're wrapped, they're taking those with them out the door, like they're...
Yeah.
Okay.
We want them And, I have books or bags that I've collected for other occasions. You can buy cute reading bags from Demco or, just recycle a bunch of bags from wherever you can get them. But sometimes kids will need a bag because they have that many gifts that they're giving. Some of them are just carrying them on their way, but we definitely want to send the books with the students. And we let the teachers know that those are coming. We let parents know that those might be coming home, just so everyone kind of knows to look for them because they might get lost in the black hole of the backpack.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
I can absolutely see a kid in April opening up a backpack and like, oh, here's a book that
I meant to give this to you.
Oh man. So I love that it's like they're doing it. They're taking the book with them. It's going home, like ready to just roll out the door with that. That's so great.
Yeah.
Huh.
Right to the last day of school.
That's so amazing. So do they get to come back? Like if they go through once, do they come back again another time? Or is it pretty much like you got your shot and then that's how we go?
It's pretty much one and done for the kids just because of how our class schedule works. But if, let's say we had a student who was absent or someone thought of somebody that they really had to get something for, we, of course, would not turn that kid away. And they can come in at a time that works for everybody.
Gotcha.
But generally, we probably keep it to one visit.
That totally makes sense. And so the stickers that you got for this year, those are just going to slap on the front of the book as like a, hey, this came from us, so that you know sort of how this came into the home and where it's coming from and building that goodwill?
Yeah. So after the book has been wrapped, if they choose to wrap the book, which obviously they don't have to, and they can also choose books for themselves. They don't have to give every book as a gift. They can also choose a gift for themselves.
Great.
But we wrap the books and put the To From sticker on the outside. And then next to that, we usually put our branded book giveaway sticker so that people kind of know where it's coming from.
Okay. Because in my head, I was trying to figure out, like, is there like the front of the book is like, hey, big like billboard for what we're doing. But no, that's great.
No, it's pretty understated, but it's there, just so that hopefully they can understand where it appeared from.
I think it makes a ton of sense. Absolutely. I mean, and I would even, I have seen, there was a district around us, their teacher union they got a bunch of books and gave books to the kids, and they just put a little sticker inside, like from the local union, just as a way. So like, it's not on the cover, but it's inside. So if you see it, like, oh, we know where this came from.
That was something we thought about doing, like putting them inside of each book. But then I thought, you know what? We don't have enough stickers because we're going to give away a lot more books than we're actually, like, there might be multiple books in one package sometimes.
Sure.
So that would get a little clunky. So I ended up settling on the one sticker per package. That
I think that's
felt
great,
like a good medium.
Yeah, no, I think that's outstanding. And you're still kind of getting that message out there. And I mean, I just love the idea of gifts that are going home, or even that the kids might be reading themselves, that just kind of make that connection to say, like, here's a way that the school is working with you and trying to help your student, both the student engage in literacy and the family engage in literacy, which is so amazing.
Critical.
I love that. So, I mean, how long have you been doing this? How many years has it been that you have been running this?
I think this is our fourth year. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that I was kind of curious about was, since you've been doing it for 4 years, I would, if I did it in my district, I'd be a little concerned that I'd get like the group of parents that the first year gave us 1 billion books. And then the second year, like, well, we gave you all the books, so we don't have anything left. Has that been something that you have you noticed a wave in the pattern? Like you get a bunch the first year, not as much the second, more the third, or is it just relatively consistent? Or
last year, I was really amazed at the amount of donations. I mean, we had, when I say thousands, I mean thousands of books. And they
incredible.
Were nice quality books overall. Sometimes people will give you something that's not worth putting out or doesn't quite fit the mission. So you can figure out what to do with those as they come up. But for the most part, what we received was incredible. And I was just in shock at how many books we had to give away. And at the end of the book swap, or the book giveaway, we still, I think I packed 7 boxes of books that were not given away. I kept
Mm.
some back for our school's, free library exchange shelf that we have downstairs in our lobby area.
Uh-huh.
I kept a few that I thought could be valuable for teachers. Um, and then the rest I was able to bring back to our public library, and they took them in their donations and circulated them back out into the
Nice.
community. So there's, again, no waste. If there was something that needed to be recycled, I recycled it. We took care of a lot of materials. So overall, I would say no, we haven't seen a drop in donations. If anything, the donations have been coming in stronger every year. And people are, I think, like I said, keeping it in mind maybe as they
Mm-hmm.
clean closets and do some sorting over the holiday time. And that's why we try to send it out kind of early so people start to think of us as they're preparing for holidays. I know that in our family, we usually have to clear some stuff out before the gift
Totally
giving
makes
season
sense.
begins. So,
Yeah. I mean, another great little advertisement for it, like, oh, we'll help you, clear some space on your shelves. Just send those our way.
Yeah, exactly.
Man. So, I mean, this is just so, it's filling me with such warmth to think about how the students are engaging with this, and that they're, like you said, you're giving them the opportunity to be givers instead of just receivers, which I think is such a huge thing, especially for kids at that age. And they may not have disposable income to go spend on something, or they might rely on an adult to get the gift that they're going to give to that same adult. And what a great way this is for them to sort of give them that extra agency in connecting with the people in their lives, and doing it through books, which is my favorite thing ever. So that's just, oh boy,
Me too.
this is so good. So good.
Well, I will say, so just a couple of logistical notes for kindergarten students. They don't always grasp the idea of giving a gift. So we go slowly with them, and we encourage each kindergarten student to choose a book for themselves as a gift from us. And we say, it's a gift of reading. You get to keep this book. And then if they're the kid that is like, oh, could I give one to XYZ? Then yes, of course, go for it. We'll wrap one. But overall, we're not kind of rolling it fully out with kindergarten. They receive a book for themselves. And if they're sort of ready for it, they can wrap a gift as well. And that seems to have worked well over the past few years, just sort of having some flexibility with them, because I think it's a little overwhelming. They haven't seen the library look like this before. There's a whole lot of new things coming at them. So giving them one achievable thing, which is go choose a book for yourself and you get to keep this book. It's yours. Yeah. It's for your home. They love that. And then if students are choosing something to read with an adult or an older sibling, I think I mentioned this before, but we really make it explicit to the children that if you are going to choose a book for someone else in your family who isn't a child or is an older child, choose something you would want to read with them. And you're giving the gift of reading. You're giving the gift of time spent together, learning or enjoying a story. And that's super valuable. To have that time together means a lot. And that's a wonderful gift. So that's when all the creative choices come in for parents getting gifts that are maybe off the wall a little bit, but also fantastic. So
yeah. Boy, you had talked before about the kids getting books for their younger siblings, but I love that idea too of saying, I want to read this with you. Oh, my heart is melting. This is so awesome.
I know. I'm getting excited.
So, I mean, those are awesome tips for us to bear in mind. Is there anything else, if somebody's doing this for the first time, is there something they should sort of have at the front of their mind, or any other pro tip that they should be okay, first timers, here's something that you're going to want to, that may catch you off guard?
I think for me, it was the supplies, how much wrapping paper, tape we went through the first time around. We had to keep running out and buying more. And at that point in the season, there's nothing really on sale, for instance. So, if you're planning to do this and you do it for more than 1 year, you can always hit those discount, paper sales the week after the holiday season's kind of wrapping up. Go get a bunch and stash it somewhere if you can. And the tape, we ran out of so much tape that first time. So definitely make sure you have plenty of supplies. Get a few people to help you. so that you're not by yourself, because it can, it's just physically a lot of work to unpack, set up, run the whole thing, wrap all week. It is a pretty physical endeavor. So maybe just be ready for the physicality of it. Like, stay hydrated, get helpers, make sure you eat, you know, kind of
Yeah.
book fair rules, but it's almost even busier than the book fair, which is saying a lot, I think, for anybody
Yeah.
who's run a book fair. That book fair tired feeling. This actually exceeds that for me, but it also exceeds it on the joy level and the fun level. So it's worth it. But just being aware of that, and then having a plan for what to do with what's left over is
Mm,
important, and make sure you have someone to help you, maybe pack it up and get it where it needs to go.
absolutely.
I would recommend just chatting with your public library. Would you be able to absorb these donations if we have this many left over, et cetera?
Hmm.
Um,
I love that, because
yeah,
that was going to be one of my big questions, was what do you do with the leftovers? Because hopefully there's going to be some leftovers. Like, you don't want to run out when you're partway through.
right.
And I love that your public library will work with you on that. In New Jersey, our public libraries might work with us on that. Kind of depends on your library. But there's also an organization. I'm just going to throw this out there for any Jersey listeners who happen to catch it. There's an organization called Book Smiles, and they take any kind of book donations. They gather thousands and thousands of books every year, and they give them out at schools where students need books, and they just give them away for free. And it's a former teacher who has started this program. So they will take any kind of books. They'll take your weeded stuff. They'll take your old textbooks. Like, they'll take everything. But if they can get stuff they can then redistribute to kids, that's a super bonus. So something to think about. Maybe your state has something like that too. I don't know, but it may be worth kind of asking around and seeing, because it's an amazing, amazing program.
That's a phenomenal program. I will have to go look that up. That sounds amazing.
Yes, they're great.
Inspiring. Maybe we need more state chapters of Book Smiles. Love that.
Absolutely. Reach out. Larry Abrams is the guy. Larry Abrams? Yes, Larry Abrams, the guy who runs it. And he is a super nice guy. And he loves to talk about the program. We had him at one of our state conferences just do a little session on, like, here's what we do, here's how we do it. He did a little video tour of their space so you could see like how they work their warehouse stuff. Just
Hmm.
absolutely amazing.
Wow. Sounds
So
great.
he would probably be willing to talk to some folks about getting something set up. So just something to throw out there, folks. If you're looking for something to do, a little extra, just reach on out to Book Smiles, and they might be able to help you set something up.
Yeah,
So
you might have some other places you could donate materials, like sometimes doctors' offices will take them, or waiting rooms, places like that. Maybe some of the, daycare facilities in your area might need some donations.
that's a great one.
Without making it overly complicated, there might be other places.
Mm-hmm.
Even regionally, we have the Wind River Indian Reservation is just a few hours from us here. And I have a few librarian friends over in that area who are often looking for books for their bookmobile and other giveaway opportunities. So there's
Nice.
places you can send the books that will be really useful to people.
Yeah. It's funny that as we're kind of talking about alternative places to get books to, I've been to several airports the past year or so that have had little take a book, leave a book stands at the gates. And so,
Yeah.
hey, maybe you want to reach out to your local airport. Maybe they'll have a little take a book, leave a book sort of thing.
Yep.
Man, I love when I get to chat with other school librarians and just brainstorm, like, here's some fun, different ways we can do stuff. Oh, boy.
Yeah, totally.
So it sounds like this is very much, a part of your community now, which I love. And it seems like, I'm kind of curious, have you gotten any feedback from, I mean, clearly the kids, when they're picking out the books, are ecstatic about it. Have you gotten any feedback like after the fact, or like, do they come back and be like, oh my gosh, here's, when I gave this book? I imagine you've probably got some great heartwarming stories about those kinds of interactions.
Yeah, I mean, they'll just say how excited they were to put the book under. They think it's like this really fun thing to kind of have a secret.
Ah,
They'll say, oh, my brother really wanted to know what was in the package, and I just couldn't tell them because I told them they had to wait to open it. And, they think that's very fun.
yeah.
So again, just that pride and that joy in being the giver of a gift. And it definitely shines through. And when they get back to school, they're very excited to share how the gifts were received.
That's awesome. And I usually ask what kind of feedback do you get from the adults, but I think the fact that you keep getting more and more donations is a very clear sign that the adults in your community think this is a really wonderful thing. So kudos to you for getting this all rocking and rolling, because it's unbelievable.
Thank you. And I think I forgot to mention that classroom teachers are a great source of donations. I think I did say I send it out to our school community, but a lot of classroom teachers need to weed their classroom library collections. And so this is a great way for them to get some books out off of their shelves so they have room for some new things. So yeah, just keep thinking about all those reservoirs of potential donations in your community and start reaching out to people. I think you could also adapt this to happen any time of year that works for you and your community. It doesn't have to be a holiday thing. It can be a spring book fling. It can be a pre-summer break book giveaway, which I actually had done in the past a long time ago in partnership with our parent-teacher organization. That's a really great time to give books away and send them home with kids. I think just the added fun of wrapping gifts around the holiday season does feel really special, but it does not have to be limited to this time of year by any means.
Yeah. It's my fault, listeners, that we did not get to this sooner. We had hoped to get this to you so that you would maybe have some time to get it ready for this holiday season. But
it's okay.
As Melissa points out, we can tuck it away for next year. We can line it up for spring. We can line up for summer. So lots of opportunities for you to still play with this idea, because it's awesome. And I know that you're going to want to get on this. I am so excited to try and start figuring out how am I going to piece this together with my students, because this is awesome. I'm loving this. All right.
I want to hear back from anybody else who tries it, see what it looks like, because everyone take it and make it your own. That's the best way to do it, is you take it, you fit it to your own community. You start when you feel ready to start. Don't try to jump into it because you feel like you have to do something, but you do it when you feel like you've got the materials available to you and the time is right. So I would love to hear back from other people who are doing this type of thing. I'm sure it's already happening in lots of places. So it's fun to share stories.
Share it, folks. Yeah, we want to hear. We want to hear how this is going. Okay. We've got details on how this all works. I love this. I am super excited. I'm all wound up about it, but we're going to take our 90-degree turn. We're going to go into our book break.
Book break.
Sweetie.
Oh, book break. Yeah.
Book break. So
Yay, books.
Any kind of book you want to share, authors, whatever you got, what do you think people should have on their book radars? It's tough, right?
I know. All of us thinks, librarians, your brain goes in so many different directions.
Trying to pick your favorite child.
Totally. And it's like whatever you're reading at the moment, because I can't remember past the last couple things I read.
Yeah.
I really love this series of poetry anthologies that are edited by James Cruz. And these are, adult poetry anthologies. They're not kids' books. But I picked up the first one that I saw and picked up. I bought at I think an indie bookstore in San Francisco. And it's called The Wonder of Small Things, Poems of Peace and Renewal. And that was the very first one that I saw, edited by him with a foreword by Nikita Gill. And then he's got several others in the series. One is called The Path to Kindness, Poems of Connection and Joy, and How to Love the World, Poems of Gratitude and Hope. And I'm the type of reader, I usually have like 10 books going at a time, and they're all different types of books. So I'll be reading fiction for kids, fiction for adults, something nonfiction-y, a professional text. And I always have some kind of poetry going because it's such a great filler when you're like, I don't have time for I can't sit down and focus for that amount of time. I found that during the pandemic, especially, I really gravitated toward poetry because it's able to sort of say the thing that we can't articulate, express the feeling that we can't quite put words to. And I love poetry for that reason.
Yeah.
And I love an anthology because you get all these different voices, and he does a beautiful job. James Cruz does a beautiful job curating like really diverse group of authors with really strong and beautiful voices. And so I love these anthologies. I go back to these and just dip into them, dog ear my own copy and go back to my favorite poems and read and reread them. So,
oh, I love that. I don't have enough poetry in my life. I love that. I'm going to have to start looking for one of these because, I mean, I love a verse novel,
yeah.
but what you're
me
saying
too.
about having, just a little, A,
Mhm.
diverse voices, and B, just that little bit that you can just focus on, just one little part. Oh, just even thinking about it is making me feel a little more zenned out.
Well, yeah. And
Love
I
that.
think, sometimes it can be a little hard to know where to start with poetry because you might not be as familiar with authors, poets, and you might get into maybe a collection by a single poet and not really love the voice or like it doesn't resonate with you. So that's a great way. I think that's why anthologies are so wonderful because you get introduced to all these different poetic voices. And then the ones that you do really connect with, you can go and search and find more of their work. So I find them
Love
really,
that.
really fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, Melissa, thank you so much. I mean, you have brought this amazing lesson that is just, even thinking about it is filling me with joy, which I love. And you've brought this great suggestion for reading that's going to enrich my reading habits. So thank you so much for taking the time, for coming to share. If folks want to touch base with you, which I know they're going to want to because awesomeness going on here, where are they going to go looking for you?
You can find me on Bluesky. And you can also find me on my school Instagram. And those I think will be posted with the show notes.
We'll get those in the show notes. Absolutely.
I always hesitate to say them out loud because I'm afraid I'm going to say them wrong because my brain doesn't hold all those details very well sometimes.
Nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, definitely, reach out on social media or you can just email me. My school email will be on the show notes and I would love to connect with anybody who's out there who wants to talk books and libraries and especially dual language libraries. I've been making a lot of connections over the last few years at the national level because we're kind of a rare group of specialized people out there. So if you're a dual language school, dual language librarian, I'd love to connect with you and just talk more about the unique challenges of running our libraries.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
we're better together when we get that opportunity to connect with each other. I always get so much out of just even connecting with folks and getting great ideas like this one. So really appreciate you.
Well, I wanted to say thanks to you too, because your network that you've built and are still continuing to build is just really valuable. And anybody who's out there who's just starting out can feel a little less alone because they have some really great resources pulled into a single site like the one you've built. And I've shared that with the librarians in our district, both experienced and brand new. And I have learned so much from the resources that you share. So thank you very much for the work that you're doing too.
Well, like I said, better together when we get to share. The rising tide is lifting all our boats. So
that's right.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully we'll get you back. We can talk some more ELL at some point.
That'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the SLLN podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for the episode. They feature links to resources shared by our guest, as well as ways to keep in touch with them, and links to the book break titles. I'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback, a comment, an idea, a question, or something you want to share, you can email drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. Know a librarian with something we could learn from? Let us know. Until next time, be good, be safe, and be well.